Testing, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. All right, everyone. Welcome. Whoa, words are hard. It's the New Year. Welcome back to another Friday night live stream here at Christ-centered Ironworks. So that's the way to get the whole party started, isn't it?
That's right.
Just with a big old flub up on language.
Just blame it on the freezing cold weather. Your mouth's.
Words are hard. Words are hard. For this guy, they're hard. So welcome everyone. I hope you all have been having a good New Year so far. I know Jessica and I and our kids certainly have. We have been having a great New Year to start the New Year off. It's been quite busy and just getting right on with the go of it. So
that's right.
Super excited about tonight's project. I want to make a fairly simple or a really simple trivet design. Now this trivet is more, I call it a trivet just because it does have 3 legs, but it is also, it's just basically a pot holder to keep your pots from scorching the countertop. It's not a true traditional trivet, but it's another take or rendition of it. So I'm looking forward to playing around in the forge this evening and doing just a really nice relaxing stream, doing a Q&A, answering your guys' questions as we forge along here. And yeah, and I also have an exciting new tool to take and show you that we just started offering over at our website, blacksmithingblanks.com. So be sure to check that out at some point during the stream or after. Better yet, after the stream's over with. So
that's right.
Who do we have, Jess?
All right, let's see. We got Coffee Studios, says evening, everyone.
Evening, Mr. Coffee, sir.
We have Kevin Zufelt, David Reednor, Bill Wool, Brian Nicholson, Tobacco Maker, Country Girl, Country Heart, to name a few. Frank Strack says, what have you been drinking?
The good stuff. Snow.
Robert Lana says, love the Christmas music still. Yeah. And the decorations, right?
That's right. That's right.
Still winter. We could celebrate it all winter long.
Yeah. Just be thankful I turned off Jessica's lights. Actually, I forgot to put I forgot to plug them in.
Oh,
so
I see.
Otherwise, you would have those lights going too.
Yes.
It's basically Christmas until spring here, so. I like leaving our trees up and leaving the shop decorated as long as I can.
Kansas Prairie Forge, hey there.
What's that?
Kansas Prairie Forge said hello.
Hey, Kansas Prairie Forge. Hello, hello.
Thomas Goodamoots says it's just a brain freeze.
Yeah, just a brain freeze. Well, it's going to be cold enough. It's dipping down into single digits this evening. It's going to be 8 degrees, I think, last time I looked at the weather. And it is probably pretty close to that now, now that the sun's down over the horizon. So it's going to be quite the nippy night, for sure.
Shall be.
For streaming. What's up?
Black Collar Ironworks, hello.
Hello, hello.
Harold Hoshkison says hello from Happy New Year from Texas. It's probably like 50 degrees or 60 degrees down there.
Probably. Oh. But they can keep it because it'll be 250 degrees come summer. So I'll just stay in the north, right where I like to be. Oh.
Side Hill Forging says, yeah, Christmas is still here.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So how many people we have joining us, Jess?
We have, looks like 66.
66 people.
Yes.
You all early birds. Way to be here.
At 5:12.
Huh?
I said at 5:12.
Yeah, 5:12. 12 minutes in. There was nearly that many to begin with, huh? Before the stream even started.
No, yeah, I think it's around 30
So,
something.
yeah. Early birds. Early birds. All right, let's go to camera number 2, Jess. And we'll get into the project this evening. So I'm going to be using one of my 6-inch circle blanks that I make for bowls that I sell over at the website, blacksmithingblanks.com. Shameless self-plug again. I'm going to be using this circle blank. It's a good illustration point for the tool that I just made up. What is that tool, you may be asking yourself? Well, I just ended up making this right here. This is what I'm calling a trivet tool. and it is for laying out the pole positions for your legs of your trivet at 120 degree angles from each other. So it takes all the guesswork out. This is how you'll get it shipped to you, just like so. But it'll go together, and basically you just have to find center on your piece. Then you can mark your 120 degrees. Then you measure in from that mark, however far you want your legs in, and center punch mark it. And now you're good to punch it, drill it, do whatever you got to do in order to install your legs around it. So this works on any type of hoop up to 6 inches in diameter. And I have a much bigger one as well that we're offering. This is my personal set where I've totally shined all the surfaces. But there is a monster one that goes up to 12 inches in diameter, and then a baby one that goes to 6 inches in diameter for trivets. This one might be better for legs on a much bigger stand, something for like a kettle or something of that nature. So yeah, so this one gives you more options. This one is up to 6 inch diameter circles that you need to put 3 inch legs, put little legs on. So yeah. So basically I've already got one that's been drilled out, but we will use this again. We'll use just a number 2. So I've already got 3 holes drilled on this one. That one I'm just going to turn into a basic texture type pot rack. And I'm going to show you guys how quickly and easily we can make these up now. So this is going to just be a basic texture for that. And then I'm going to lay out the marks on this after I do some chisel work around the edges and give it a little different texture to it. And then we'll install the feet on them as well. So I'm going to get this one heated up first, and we're going to get it texturing.
Robert Lana says he ordered that today. He got the large one. That's right, before the photographs were even up there.
Yep.
So you're buying sight unseen.
Thank you, Robert.
He says that's going to be perfect for fireplace sets.
What's that?
He says that's going to be perfect for fireplace sets.
Oh yeah? Yeah, exactly, for 120 degree angles, marking out your, marking that out for a fireplace tree. Yep, so it's a handy tool to have. Again, it's really easy to put that into, say, into the CNC part of it or the CAD file, and everything's exactly 120 degrees from one another. Jessica had some other blanks, some other designs that she was working on, and they actually had, again, a similar 120 degrees away from each other for us, and that fit that perfectly. So it's exactly 120 degrees, those slots are. And of course the slots are made a bit longer. If you go to camera number 2, Jess.
All right.
Obviously the reason why we did slots, we thought about this a little bit, and this was actually Jessica's idea. I was just going to have like little holes all the way up the piece. But then she's like, well, why don't you just make it a slot? And that way they can mark anywhere they want to put the reference mark on it. I'm like, well, you know what? That makes a heck of a lot of sense. This right here is perfectly center of everything out here. So you can actually use this as a center finder itself if you got something that you can put that on, and then you can work these out to the edges. So it's going to be a pretty handy tool, I think, for everybody. I've already used it a couple times in the shop, and yes, it works. It just works, takes the guesswork out. You're not busy drawing and doodling all day, triangles and cutting out paper templates. I've done almost every way there is to triangulate that. It's just a lot nicer with that tool. It's just a quick little reference tool. So
Braylon says, I'd see good use making triple-legged end tables or stools with that as well.
Yep. Very good idea for it, especially for the larger one. Another thing too is, although that is small, let's expand it out. You could find the center of whatever item it is that you're going to put 3 legs on, put that thing in the center, draw your marks, and now you have an easy straight edge that you can draw your mark all the way out to the corner wherever you want, because that 120 degrees is the same no matter which, no matter how big into affinity you go. it's always the same. So that's it's a very, very handy little tool. I'm trying to sell you on it, you know, because I make money if you buy it, and it helps support the channel, so why not? But in all reality, yeah, I was thinking that up. I was sitting there. I was like, you know, I wish I had something to make the trivet legs. What? Duh, Roy, you have the plasma.
Make it.
You have the plasma cutter. Why don't you make a tool that make it easier on yourself? And so that's where that came up with. And I'm like, you know what? I bet you other people would like that thing too.
Yamez just dropped in.
Who's?
Yamez.
Yamezi. Hello, Mr. Mez. Yamez.
Brian Nicholson says, sounds like a pretty handy tool.
It seems like it. I know it's going to get a lot of use in my shop, so if I think of more tools as I go along, you all will know about them.
Mad Mr. Fox says he forged his first horse head the other day.
First horse head?
Yep.
Congratulations. All right, this is hot enough for me to do some texturing on it, babe.
All right.
Let's go to camera number 2.
Dookie.
I'm just brushing that initial surface scale off there. I'm using a ball peen, but I've got a nice broad face, rounded face on the front of it, because all I want is to add hammer texture. I don't really want to add a ball peen or a pebbled texture to it. Now, once that cools down all the way, you need to stop working it, because it's going to just keep getting shallower and shallower with each hit. You're not going to get as much texture. So it's worth putting it back in the fire and heating her back up. Once you get 1/8 inch plate up to heat, it goes fairly quick. All right, Jess, what we got? We got any questions, comments, concerns, complaints of any kind?
No questions yet.
Everybody's just saying hello to one another, huh?
Vic T says, I'm trying to get started. I love this. Gives me new ideas and inspiration.
Well, awesome. Welcome to the community. Online community blacksmiths here. And glad it's inspiring you. Give you some inspiration. We all need that from time to time.
Robert Whitney says, what temperature is it up there?
So, Robert, it's tonight it's supposed to get down to 8 degrees Fahrenheit. So, right now, I would say it's probably hovering around 10. I haven't looked at the weather in a bit, but I looked at it about 30 minutes before the stream started, and it was at 12 degrees. So I bet you it's a fuzz colder than that now, because the sun's dipped down below the horizon. So it's going to be a wee bit colder. And I'm going to stand over here. I'm not trying to ignore you all, but it's warmer over here.
If that's the case, I might move my
closer
box.
to the fire.
Move my box to the other corner. So
You're
it's
moving
not on top of your
you're
head.
moving your bot. What?
I'm moving myself to the other corner, so I'm not on top of your head.
Okay.
blocking you. See, Jeremy says I missed a bit of the beginning. We're just getting started.
We're just getting started. We're still beginning. Stick around.
Side Hill Forging loves the hat.
Glad you like it. It keeps my nugget warm, which is important. Let's go back to the anvil.
All right.
So at first I like to go a bit random with my hammer pattern, and then I like to tighten everything up by being more aiming, you know, more accurate with each blow. So I start in just kind of hammering sporadically, just to get the majority of the surface covered with hammer blows, and then I start stacking hammer blows on top of each other and working the surface over to give it that hammered look. All right, throw that back in.
Alex Pittman asked, any issues with the Mr. Volcano Forge? I picked one up a few weeks ago and I'm trying to set it up this weekend.
Nope, no issues as of yet. So, you'll notice in some of the videos that I'll be having coming out on the Mr. Volcano Forge that the refractory is cracking, but that's because I cheated. I forced dried a lot of stuff to try to, for the sake of video, so this way I could get the review done on it. I didn't have 3-4 days that I could wait, potentially. I needed to get it done. So I force dried things through the thing. I did basically everything the manufacturer said not to do on doing that. But even with that, the coating's holding up really, really well. It's just cracking all over the place. So eventually I will have to use my little bag of future use refractory mix and use it a bit sooner in the future rather than later to fix all those little spider cracks. But yeah, no, it works very well. I've got several videos coming out on it that'll be hopefully posting this weekend in next week as well. So we'll see how we come about that. I got a lot more tests to do, a lot more things to do on it.
Derek Goodwin, I am perfectly warm. I have snow pants on, a heated jacket, I've got hand warmers in my pockets and in my boots, and I've got a heater a foot and a half away from me, so yeah, I'm set. If anything, Roy's actually got the colder position.
She's warmer than me, trust me. I give her the best seat in the house, like any man should.
Granddad says as long as there's no red star on that hat, it looks cozy.
Yeah. This is actually all the way from Russia. So if you want to buy winter gear, buy it from places that are always cold because they know how to build winter gear. Don't buy winter gear from somebody in the Bahamas. They don't know what good winter gear is. All right, we about got this all textured out. I'll go ahead and flip it over and straighten her up. It's important to flatten things out, especially if you expect a pan to sit on this. Hopefully everybody can hear me good.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm not rubbing the mic too much.
I think you're fine.
All right. There we have it. Heat her up again.
Yama sent a $5 super chat and says, buying a Roy rant on preheating anvils.
Don't do it. That's the rant. Don't do it.
Oh, it's a 2-word rant.
It is
Well, 3 words.
ridiculous. So we've had this thing out 4 times now, right?
Mm-hmm.
To the anvil.
Mm-hmm.
By my count, 4 times.
I believe so, yeah.
Yes. Anyways, right now, right where I've been setting this thing, it is probably 10 degrees. No difference, no discernible difference anywhere else on Olga, my anvil. None. So it's going to take a really, really, really long time for Olga to heat up. Now, when I did the quenching of the Harbor Freight anvil, or the case hardening, and I set it on the anvil top, for the time that we were monkeying around to get the shots with the video footage and things like that, it heated the surface, it heated Olga up to about body temp, a bit above. And that was about it. And that was from a long time of it sitting there. So, you know, and it didn't sit there overly too long when I did that either. I did think about that. I was like, you know, this thing's sitting here and it is kind of piping hot. I think I'll just set it down on the floor. So I set it down on the concrete underneath the anvil. But even after that, you could put your hands on it, and it wasn't like it would fry your hand or anything. It wouldn't get that hot. And that was a whole day of shooting, just about. So, yeah, not going to hurt at all. Preheating anvils is a waste of time. It's a waste of fuel, waste of energy, Earth's resources, everything else and its brother. So, it's a waste of time. Don't do it. Well, you can do it all you want. I don't care. But it's nonsense. As long as you understand and it's universally agreed upon being nonsense, then we're good. I just made a whole bunch of angry people angry. Huh. Or a whole bunch of happy people angry.
I don't know. We'll see.
Man, you're all dead in the chat tonight, huh?
Jeremy says, that's what I have in Harbor Freight anvil. It actually works really good for me now.
Cool. Did he do something with his Harbor Freight anvil?
He hasn't.
What did he say about it?
Have you done anything specific to it? I'll
make
tell
it
you
work
if he
very
says.
good for him now?
If he says, I will let you know. He didn't say what specifically.
Oh.
He just said, it works really good for me now.
Okay.
Or for now, sorry. I read that
For
wrong.
now.
For now. Makes more sense.
I wasn't picking up what you're putting down.
Okay.
Are you at camera 2?
Yes.
All right. So now I'm going to add a bit of scalloping to the edge here. I'm going to go to the far side edge of the anvil. And the goal with scalloping is not to do what I just did and mess up with the tongs here. The goal with scalloping is to stay consistent or accurate, either or. But you want to try to hammer consistently in a rhythm. The more rhythmic you get with it, like hammering on the beat, the more accurate each one of those scallops will end up looking in the long run. That's good. Because the point of scalloping is so this way the marks are right next side one another. They're not actually landing on top of one another. They're right next to one another. I'm doing a terrible job of it here, but I think you guys, hopefully you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
You see that okay?
Yep.
Keep this up again. Now this is one of those reach issues that it would be nicer to go to the horn of Olga and have the reach that I need. Because my anvil's big, I've got a 6-inch wide face, about 6¼ inch wide face here. And with it being, well, right dead on 6, it being that wide, it takes almost all that, so you barely set your tongs on. So it's a bit of a reach issue. If I go back to the tailstock, it drops down and it's, you know, say it's like 5½ inches. Now my tongs clear and I can go nice and easy like. But that's not conducive to filming, so, or at least in the live, I'm not going to move the camera to do so. So we're going to struggle through. Mm-hmm. The other thing I could do, and we might try it here, if you have reach issues like that and you do not have an anvil that has a square tapered horn, you can use a hardy block. So it's just a square block. Show this off. About, I don't know, that was meant to be inch tall, just bigger than what your hardy shank is, and mine goes in a specific way. Plop it down like that, and now you've got a much smaller working surface that you can work off of and not have to worry about dinging up the face of your anvil. What you don't want to do is you don't want to take and scallop things. You don't want to scallop things on your anvil surface, because that's how you'll end up leaving tons of dents where they don't belong. That's much easier than going across the face. And now I'm adding a much more even. So as long as you keep rolling into each hammer blow and you keep your hammer blows consistent, you create a nice, can they see that all right?
Uh-huh. Yes.
You create a nice scalloped edge. Now I'll heat it up and brush the scale off of it. Excuse me.
Tobacco Maker says, for the cost of buying a stick welder and an actual mid and hard face sticks, I bought a pro grade cast steel anvil.
So brought a pro grade cast steel anvil.
Yeah, instead of buying a stick welder with the hard face rods.
Yeah, well, you should have a stick welder in your shop at some point. You know, so the whole point of doing this series that I'm doing on the Harbor Freight anvil, on some of these cheaper products and things like that, is because there's plenty of forge snobs out there that will beat up somebody who's just getting in the trade about their, their equipment, right, being inferior, and so therefore their work's going to be inferior. And you know, I've seen enough in some of those Facebook groups whenever I've scummed around on the internet there of people just bashing beginners outright for, you know, receiving Christmas presents that were, you know, Harbor Freight anvils that their wife bought them. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my Harbor Freight anvil that little woman over there bought me for Christmas. So I wouldn't be standing here with the shop that I do, with the $60,000 worth of tooling and equipment and smithing equipment that I have. I wouldn't be here today teaching with over 1,700 videos on YouTube if it wouldn't been for that garbage Harbor Freight anvil that everybody likes to kick in the nads. So that's the purpose of this video series, is people ask questions, and beginners and newbies ask questions. Well, I got this Harbor Freight anvil, and old Joe Snotty Opinion says it's garbage, but he doesn't pose any options. Well, could I hard surface it? Nah. Never work. Just get you a real anvil. No, I'll answer the question for them. Can you hard surface it? Yes, you can. I just answered that question. It can be used. It can be used now in online debate. From now until once I'm long dead and gone, it can continue to be used. So you're laughing over there. There must be some good ones.
Yeah, they said, Kevin Zufelt says, now this is a rant. Good out of you, Roy.
Yes, this is a rant now. But yeah, go back here. But yeah, no, I've dealt with those type comments throughout the whole thing, and I knew I would, and I just don't really care. Most of the neckbeards that are commenting how bad it is, how horrible, how this or that, or what have you, don't have a tenth of the forging skill or time that I have in at the anvil. So I'm not really worried or concerned when it comes to that. It's just that's the series, right? You know, is it the greatest anvil in the world? No. That's like That's not even in question. It's not the greatest anvil in the world. But some people can't afford the greatest anvil in the world. You know? And it's not the tools that make the smith. It's the smith that makes the tools. And I will stand by that forever. Period. The tools will help you. They can make you more efficient. They can make you less efficient if you don't know what you're doing with them. But they, at the end of the day, they're a tool to help you get jobs done. There's junkier ones and there's better ones out there. But the Harbor Freight isn't that terrible of a tool. It's not great. No, not great. But that's how it is. The argument of whether you should weld up your anvil face or not, if you have a Harbor Freight anvil, that basically comes down to you, what you have on hand, your resources, your materials. You know, you could completely machine it off flat and have it, you know, professionally welded and have that machined perfect and crisp and polished, and you could do all these various things, and it could cost you tens of thousands of dollars putting lipstick on a pig, right? But that's totally up to you how far you want to push that. Is it any better? No, it's probably not. It's still a Harbor Freight anvil, you know, and you got to put a lot of work into it to make it what you could have probably just went out and bought. Yes, but if you have a welder in your shop, you have some stick electrodes, yeah, like a lot of people do, a lot of you suburbia dads and wannabe welders out there, right? We all have little stick welders in our shops at some point, and even if they're from Harbor Freight too, right? Boom, we can get after it. We can make something that is a junkie tool just a little bit better and stem off the amount of time that you know, we can hold off on having to buy an anvil that's $600-700 or $1,000 or $150 or $200, because not everybody has the cheese to spend like that. All right, touch mark.
All right.
I'm sure there's all sorts of interest.
Oh, there is. Everybody has a lot to say on that subject.
Everybody has a lot to say, eh?
Yeah.
Good or bad?
I mean, well, side with you, you know. You got to work with what you have available to you. They like the lipstick with the pig with a lipstick comment.
They like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a certain point, right? I mean, you can put $100,000 into a Harbor Freight anvil. Sure, no, you know, go ahead and gold plate it if you like. I mean, that's completely up to you and how much disposable income you have. But yes, you are putting lipstick on a pig. That's what's happening.
The argument there, though, is you're kissing the lipstick, not their pig, right?
You're just kissing a prettier pig. That's all you're doing. You're kissing a prettier pig. All right, I got that all brushed up. But yeah, so the whole point of that Harbor Freight series is I'm attempting to show through action, not words, not chatter that you're going to get on online groups, but actual words, actual actions that you can see with your own two eyes. He did this. This was his result. If you don't like my results, do it yourself. Spend the $70 a Harbor Freight anvil and do your own tests. Otherwise, accept them as they are. I'm the only nutcase that's looking for Harbor Freight anvils because they've sold out in all of North Michigan,
America,
period.
Practically.
Practically all out of North America, which has really cramps my style because I'm looking for more anvils so this way I can do other tests that people have had questions on. It's a waste of money? Might be. Is it a waste of time? Might be. Is it entertaining? That's for you to decide. But for me, what it does is it kind of puts an end to those questions with a visual reference point. You can say, hey, somebody asks you, hey, could I like hard surface this anvil? Boom, click on Christ Center Ironworks. There you are. You can pull it up in just a few seconds. Here, this is where he did it, and this was his results. Proof is in the pudding, right?
Nietzsche Jesse sent a $5 super chat and said, hard-faced anvils are very overrated. DF does a good video on it. What I think matters most is the amount of steel under your blow.
I've done a video on that, which I have been proven wrong on. I used to think it was just mainly just mass was all that mattered, not the hardness. But I'm incorrect on that. So I've done a video where I did that test. I pulled out Rockwell testers, and I did a ball bearing drop tube, and we tested things out, similar masses, stuff that's softer, stuff that's harder, and harder won out when it came to, you know, rebound. As far as mass is concerned, yes, mass doesn't move. The more mass you have under your hammer blows, the more it's going to support that work, or it's going to resist that work from moving around a bit. So that's why I like really big anvils, and I cannot lie. Bigger the better, in my opinion. I love big anvils, but they're not always practical. So, what else you got?
Black Collar says, I know Roy pours copper ingots while warming up Olga. Hee 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 hee.
Yeah, that's what it is. Been sitting there. No discernible difference. No preheats. Back to that rant. Oh. But yeah, so at the end of this whole thing, I hope to have a nice visual representation of any way that a Harbor Freight anvil could be improved. I've shot a video on it. Whether it works or it doesn't. It's one big experiment. And hopefully it will be handy to somebody out there who, when they're looking into it, they don't end up wasting hundreds of dollars of their cash, their precious earned money, especially if you're just getting into the trade. Money's tight, right? You need to spend it on good equipment or things that are going to last you until your next job, right? So I will continue on that little march.
Brian Nicholson says, I always start with a Harbor Freight tool until I have enough experience to not ruin the nice one when I get it.
Very true. Unfortunately, I don't want to be a shill for Harbor Freight here, but I have a lot of Harbor Freight tools in my shop just because, well, I'm more interested in getting the work done and pleasing the client than having all the bougie tools in my shop and looking all fancy dancy. I'd rather have the job done than that. I'm using a small little drift right now while it's kind of cold, just to open these holes up a little bit because we distorted the plate. I'm doing it cold because we do not want to do it hot. Do it hot, you're going to get big bumps out. So that's why I'm just doing this cold. Got one more to do. That one's not quite as big. There we go. See how that looks. I might have to tap that again. Yeah, that works all right. Good. Whoop. And good.
Glenn GS Tongs, good to have you. Thank you for the 300 NT super chat.
Glenn, thank you, brother. Thank you for coming over here. I truly do enjoy your streams. And you don't have to worry about tossing money back my way. I like to support another brother of the forge there. Anybody who doesn't know Glenn at GS Tongs, you should go check his channel out. He's getting, if I'm wrong, correct me, Glenn, but he's getting into the live streaming space a little bit, and he's got a lot of great stories to tell, real interesting ones. And he does a lot of really nice work over there on his channel. So go give him a check out and a sub. He deserves it.
He says, hey, Roy, thanks for the support. Keep up with the beard care products.
I'll need all that 300 NT whatever that I can get. This is about the best beard I've ever grown. I know it's completely like pitiful compared to some of you blokes out there, but for me, it's been the best thing I've ever been able to grow thus far. So I'm happy.
Hello, Speargrass.
What's that?
Said hello, Speargrass.
Hello, Adam. Huh?
Yes, I was looking for a question. Let's see. Someone asked if where you buy steel around here, because they're looking in their area.
I don't buy steel around here. I drive 6.5 hours south to Dayton, Ohio. And I purchase from First Street Recycling in Dayton, Ohio. If you're around Dayton, if you're in a state that surrounds Ohio, they're worth the drive to go see. They are at the their scrap yard. You talk to John or Raudell down there, they'll hook you up. Great guys, and yeah, very, very worth going there. So.
That was from John Hutchinson, by the way.
John Hutchinson?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But yeah, nope, I don't buy from anywhere up here. I haven't found a scrap yard to sell yet to the public that's anywhere close without it being like 3 hours away, 3.5 hours away. And yeah, and buying new from Alro is just, well, me and Alro don't get along just right now at this moment in time, so we're not business friends right now.
No.
We're not Facebook acquainted. Let's, right now at this moment in time. Too high prices.
Down Under Farm and Forge says, that's a beard? Possum Sausage says, not as bad as my neck beard you were ragging on earlier.
If the shoe fits, you gotta wear it. And yes, for the record, this is a beard. Thank you very much. All right, cool. Got that all good to go. And so here's where it's just more of a modern aesthetic. It's just like a little hot plate thing to keep. It's just a little bit of air gap, just so this way when you lay a pan or a hot skillet on your countertop, it doesn't scorch from underneath. So now we need to do the next step in this. We'll let it cool for a moment. Questions, Jess? Comments?
Yes. Fingers says, recommendation on finding refractory.
Recommendations on finding refractory.
Mm-hmm.
Online, internet. Day and age that we live in. Amazon will have it to you in a few days. eBay takes a while to get to you, but work out all right. A lot of the blacksmithing, a lot of the blacksmith supply places that have forges that they sell do generally carry refractory. Sometimes they'll carry in small quantities. You might have to ask around a bit, and they might be able to point you in a better direction than I could on that. I just buy my stuff online. It's just as easy to do that. No, used to be really hard to get a hold of. Like you had to know somebody who knew somebody who worked in, a kiln making factory in order to get a hold of any of it. But now it's not so. It's like pretty prevalent everywhere online.
Clayton Pierce says, how many sets of tongs should I make a month?
A month?
A month.
As many as you have need of. At one time, I had 450 pairs of tongs in my shop. And some of those were made. There's a good bit of them bought. A lot of them were made by other folks. And I've reduced my tongs down now in my shop, which, mind you, I need to make more. But I've reduced them down now to, I want to say, probably 40 staple tongs that I use. There's a class of tongs that I use semi-regularly, almost never, and then all the time. And out of all the time tongs, there's about 20 pair I use all the time, like every day in the shop. So you'll find that too. You know, once you've got a good range of tongs, it's not as simple as like, let me go buy a bunch of bar stock tongs, right? And I'm going to just buy them all the way from 1/8 inch rod all the way up to inch rod in 1/8 inch increments or 1/4 inch increments. You'll still find some weird gap in those, you know, where you'll need something goofy in the shop, especially if you undertake anything that's not standard, any sort of standardization. If you've got a standard product you offer through your shop or something you make a lot of, then you can pare it all the way down to just a handful of tongs, and that might be all your shop needs. But as soon as you move up to something, you're like, hey, I think I want to forge an axe. Well, now you're making axe eye tongs and all sorts of tongs to hold the axe in different positions for different work and things like that. And then you'll get out of doing axes, and they'll sit there forever, and they'll be in the never use pile, right? Because now you're forging blades, or you're forging this. You're forging trivets, right? Or who knows?
Sconanner says, if I were to build
what
a
was
forge...
that?
Sconanner?
Sconanner?
Yes.
I thought
If I'm pronouncing
I
it
totally
right.
heard something else there for a second. I'm like, Jessica, on the stream.
Anywho, says, if I were to build a forge, what rating fire brick should I get? I see some that are right at 2,000 degrees, but I assume you need higher than that.
Need a lot higher than that, yeah. You want to look for 2,600 and up degree fire brick. It's a lot more expensive, but it's going to last a lot longer. Now, that being said, if you know how to properly set up your gas forge, it's a gas forge, correct?
Yeah.
Gas or coal?
I think it was coal.
If he's trying to do fire brick for
Oh, he
coal.
just said building a forge.
Okay, if you're building a gas forge, you need to get 2,600 degree fire brick and up, generally speaking. If you're building a coal forge and you're going to have fire brick down in the bottom, you need to get 3,000 plus degree fire brick. Don't even mess around with the 2,600 degree fire brick, because it's just going to melt into the bottom of your tuer. So wouldn't mess with it at all. When it comes to the gas forges, you don't have to always forge things at screaming hot temperatures. That's how I like to forge stuff. I like to forge stuff at just super hot temperatures, bright lemon yellow, just sub welding temperature. That's how I like to forge stuff, because I do most of my work by hand here at the anvil, and I like working out pieces. It's softer and it bends to my will. There's others, Glenn at GS Tongs. I don't know if it's a lighting thing on his, but he actually works his material from the video that I can see. It looks like he works his a lot cooler in temperature, and so therefore you wouldn't need as hot of a withstanding fire brick. But you might as well overkill on the fire brick and never have it melt and, you know, become a puddle of goo in the bottom of your forge lining, right? So that's my thought on it. It's better to overshoot it a little bit and have a higher rate of fire brick than what's you're needed than undershoot and always never be able to come up to where you want. Because eventually you'll have that day where you're like, you know, I want to try welding. I want to try to weld some Damascus. And you're going to have that 2,000 degree fire brick, and you're going to regret it. You're going to regret it as soon as you bring it up to temperature enough. Bring that gas forge up to temperature enough to make that Damascus. Or the first fire in a coal forge, you'll regret that you got 2,000 degree fire brick. So always overshoot if you can. 2,600 and up for gas forge, 3,200 and up for coal. If you can, if you're doing those two things. Good?
Yep. Working with iron says, is that real snow in the workshop?
It is. It's real, touchable, tangible, lickable snow. Although I advise against licking it because it's kind of, it's a bit grody in here. But yeah, I can people from around the world send me their white flux.
Just piles up everywhere.
Go to camera number 2, Jess.
All right.
So it's real, touchable, tangible, meltable snow. One of these days, I will have the full siding done on here, and maybe I will even have a Reznor hanging up in here somewhere, and it'll be all nice and 32 degrees in here instead of 9.
2 degrees. 32 instead of 2.
Yeah, 32 instead of 2. Instead of 2 degrees, so. All right, so now I'm going to show you the second part of this trivet. Let's go to camera number 2, Jess.
Okay.
We are going to just use rivets. I'm just using some domed head rivets that are a 1/4 inch round in diameter. These are about 1/2 inch long. They really are just a little bit too long for this application because it just being one piece, we're not actually riveting anything together, but it's what I had on the shelf. So those little balls there on the bottom, that's going to become our feet that hold us up off the ground, and then we're going to pin these down on the top, if you will. To do that and keep the little button head rivets working all good, I'm going to use this rivet block. I've made this in a video here on YouTube. I have a whole series on rivets. It's a riveting series, as you might call it. But yeah, I made this super simple. This is just mild steel, not case hardened, nothing. It's just a mild steel die that I ran some ball punches into. But as you see, it's come in handy time and time and time again. So we're going to set the head in that little space there. And then we're going to upset this rivet. I'm going to come down with some fairly sharp hammer blows. Try to steer it around a bit. And we'll give that head just a little bit of texture. Now you can see, hopefully, can they see that all right?
Yes,
Perfectly formed domed head, no problems. And a little hammered head there. So that's going to provide us with just enough stick off of the table or whatever that we don't scorch a countertop or things like that. That's rolling a little bit. I'm going to use my ambidextrous nature to drive it back the way it ought to be. Number 2. That's a little trick I bet most of you didn't know. Roy was ambidextrous.
Probably not.
Boom. Nicely formed rivet heads. And as you see, it gives us just a little bit of gap off the table.
Awesome.
Huh?
Is that awesome? I like the texture on it.
There we have it. Now we just need to give it a little bit of a wax finish. So back in the heat. I'll warm it up. And I'll put a wax coating on it. Questions, complaints, concerns, Jess?
Rob says, now he's showing off. A wink.
Wink.
Down under Farm and Forge says, finally made a start on our present. Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, Darren. What else?
Let's see here. I know there's a few questions. I was trying to find them. Heath French says, have you got the candles up yet, Roy and Jess?
Have we got the what?
The candles. The
No, have not got the candles up yet. I finished all the brackets, the scrolly bits for the brackets. Got those done. I do need to, however, let me grab this. I'll grab one to show you all. So, for those of you who don't know, so I did get all, can they see that all right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
So I did get all the scrolly brackets done for the scroll portion, but I do need to make the back plates so this way I can get them hung. So that's where that project's at right now currently. It's in process.
Tinker at Forge says, is it good to learn to swing the hammer from both hands?
It can be, especially if you ever have problems with one of your wrists or one of your arms. Might be handy to have a head start. It comes easier to me because I'm ambidextrous naturally. I'm already naturally ambidextrous, so it comes a bit easier. Versus if you were all right-handed all the time or all left, it'd be really difficult to learn with the other one. But you can do it, and there has been guys who have done it. So, you know, I think it's very worthwhile learning how to do those things for those just in case moments, right? Because wouldn't that be the pit? You lose an arm or something, right? And that's your dominant arm, and then you got to start over from scratch to figure out how to do everything with the opposite hand. So predominantly I hammer with my right arm. Predominantly. But I'm not opposed to switching over to my left. If need be. All right, so now we're going to do a little beeswax finish. You just go to the main cam. I don't think, well, I don't know. Yeah, they're not going to be able to see much there.
Okay.
Go to the main cam. Yep, too hot yet. If it flashes off like that, it's too hot. You let it cool down a bit more. But I'm doing it because it's fun.
Don't catch your glove on fire.
Fire is my middle name.
Jeremy says, have you ever heard of using bowling alley wax for a finish?
Bowling alley wax? No, I've never heard of that. Sounds interesting, though.
Messy Laura says, remember to move your head the other way when you change hammer hands. I forgot it and hit myself in the eye with a club hammer.
Oh, no.
Ow.
Ouch. That sounds like a really good advice right there. Oh, come on now. Get over here. There we are.
Roger Rabbit says, what would be a good steel for a monkey tool for starting rivets or finishing tenons?
A good steel? Mild. Mild, and if you're worried about it deforming over time, case harden it. That would be my suggestion. Monkey tools are a dime a dozen. So you're going to make them, you're going to lose them. I've lost a bunch of monkey tools because they just look like a piece of bar stock, right? This laying over in the corner. Anything in the 10 series, 1045, 1060, 1075, 1095 is a bit too high. I wouldn't heat treat any of those. I would just make it out of them, if you will, if you're looking for something just a little bit tougher. It doesn't have to be anything special. I've made them out of stainless before, which that's just tough. It's abusive on you if you just want to, if you like abuse and you want to hit on something that really no human has any business hand working, then I would recommend stainless. You could do out of stainless. It's fairly tough. You don't even have to heat treat.
AA says, can you reuse melted beeswax after it's resolidified?
Oh, yes. Yep, that's why I'm going over the can. Try to flame this off a little bit, get the surface to look a little bit more even.
Stephen White says, what grade beeswax do you use?
That grade. I don't know.
It's off of an end cap, off of an actual hive, so it still had some.
Well,
like,
this
sediment.
one, I think, the one I'm using right
bought?
now, I guess, is maybe something that is more refined. I've got some that's not so refined that we got from a guy locally. It's more yellow wax. Can you go over there?
Yeah.
So it's still got some of the pollen and whatever stuck to one side. It's not very refined at all. This has just been sliced right off, I guess, the end of the comb. And then this here is something that was kind of melted down first cell as a beeswax. So I don't know the difference. I know this one's darker.
Yeah, the other
and
one
this one's more raw, I guess you would say.
The other one was...
They both melt on about the same, though. So I don't know. I don't know if a grade matters. I will say they both have a totally different smell to them, though, which is really neat. This one has a little bit, like this one has a bit more of a flowery smell to it, almost like it's perfumed in a way, as where this other beeswax, it has more of a, I don't know, a sweet smell to it, almost like a honey smell to it. So, different. Pretty nice finish, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll flame it off one more time. When you flame it off like this, it does help darken that beeswax. So if you've got a bunch of unevenness, you can put it back in over the fire and flame it again. Just enough, heat it up enough in the flames, top the flames, where it starts flaming off. Can they see that?
Yeah.
Should I hold it in front of me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they can see that. That's the problem.
Yeah, they can see it. Yep.
You see that there?
Yeah. It's like a torch.
Yeah. So when it's flaming off like that, it'll darken up the surface finish without you losing a whole lot of wax in the process. So, and then you let it cool down just a fuzz, and then you can add yourself a bit more wax on there. And you can keep working on that finish until it's completely black, really. You can go as heavy with this as you like. It's as far as I'm choosing to go with this one, though. It's good enough. Leave it at that.
Working with iron says, write your name with the smoke.
Let's here. Let's try it. It's almost like one of them Catholic things. Or whatever. All right, let's try it. Well, do we need more? We need more on there, right? Smoke her up here. Let's put that on there. All right, 1, 2, 3. There you go. That's the worst thing
That
ever.
did not look like letters, but yeah, because it floats off as you go.
People are like, what's going on in this stream?
Don't lose grip.
Quick, Jess, get back a hold of the controller. Roy's he's spinning out. What's going on here? Looks nice. Looks nice. All right, I can set that off to the side. It's kind of hard when the shop's got snow on it and all available clean spaces are taken up. Set over here on some bricks.
Christopher Roach says, what kind of setup would you recommend for a hobbyist starting out? I believe he said in a previous comment he has a 10-year-old son that he wants to do it with.
What type of what now?
What type of setup to start out with?
So, if you're in the city, I would say get yourself they're so cheap now. If you're trying to get started, I would go probably with the Mr. Volcano Gas Forge, just because that thing's ridiculously cheap value. Dollar for dollar, that's okay. If you're in the city. If you're in the country, you can get by just getting started. Find yourself a small coal forge and get started that route. You can make your own. There's all sorts of plans out there and designs, and people have all sorts of ways of making them. But really, blacksmithing comes down to the basic elements, right? We need something to heat, beat, and repeat, right? And a vise is nice. So there it is. If you keep I need to heat, beat, and repeat, and a vise is nice. That's what you need, as far as to get started. A basic anvil, again, there's a whole bunch of them on Amazon, dirt cheap as compared to what they are now. On Amazon or eBay, you can find them any place on the internet there. 66-pound Achayos, those are good. You can pick up one of those. I think they're $130, somewhere around that range. A gas forge for $88 comes with everything you need. You can hook it up to your 20-pound barbecue propane cylinder. a cheap Harbor Freight hammer. Don't go elaborate, or look around at garage sales. You can pick up a lot of hammers sometimes for just a couple bucks, you know, that you might have to put a little grinding sweat equity into for the faces. As far as vices go, when you're just first starting out, I would steer clear of leg vices unless you can get a good deal on one, just because they're fairly expensive. You know, you can get by with a fairly stout bench vise for a little while. You can get by with that, and then you always have a bench vise when you do finally get yourself a leg vise as well. So that would be my suggestion. You know, to get started into it, I would start small. Don't go crazy. Don't go crazy on the shop size. Don't go crazy on buying power equipment and, you know, the finest of every tool until you know that you really enjoy this. Obviously, the better the tools, the easier, the less difficulties you're going to have with the tooling fighting you than, you know, than your own skills. But at the end of the day, again, it is the blacksmith that makes the tools, not the tools that make the blacksmith. Hopefully that answered that well enough. It's a very broad, it's kind of a very broad topic. There's no one-size-fits-all solution for everyone. So I'm sure people have already been commenting in the stream, haven't they? Like, everybody's probably been telling them, oh, do this or do that.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, yeah. What's going on?
Black Collar Ironworks, thank you for the $10 super chat. He says, my dad just came in to remind me to ask for you guys' address. He made some candies for you guys. Also, Jess, my dad just saw you smile, and he said it reminded him of my mother's smile.
You want to answer that one, Jess?
Well, thank you.
Or was he saying my smile reminded him of his mother's smile?
No, I'd be a little concerned. the bearded man over there.
The bearded man. Oh, no judgment here.
Christopher Roach, thank you for the $5 super chat. He's saying thanks for answering his question.
Very welcome. Thank you all for supporting the stream with the super chats. I do greatly appreciate you all. I don't think I've said that enough in this stream, have I?
No.
I have forgotten to say thank you. So, thank you, thank you. Thank you and thank you.
And, oh, Black Collar, sorry, I spaced the first half of that question. Our address is down in the description of the video and should be in the live stream too.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. If just needs it said so he can write it down.
Yes.
It's
yes,
P.O. Box 516. Harrisville, Michigan, right?
Yep.
You want to finish it?
48740. Sorry. I guess I'm going with the brain freeze now.
There you go.
City Girl Country Heart says, Roy, the pot rack you made that I have is absolutely beautiful.
So awesome to hear that. I'm glad it is hanging in a good home.
Richard Ironworks says, heat, beat, repeat, and warm feet.
As warm as you can get them.
Messy Laura says, have you decided what the year of the blank is?
Yes, we put out a whole video on it. And everything at the beginning of this year.
We did.
The year of this year is going to be the well, not Mr. We'll see. It's going to be the year of the Forge. That's the goal. The goal is to give away 12 Mr. Volcano Forges this year. So that is the goal. That is the new year of. It's economical enough for us to be able to keep up with it, and we'll have a bunch of other great door prizes as well. You know, well, hopefully we will. We'll see. We're still working out all the details on that.
Leland Hawk says the Roy Rant video about leg vices saved him from getting a junk vice. Ended up with one in good shape for a good price.
Good, good. I'm glad that helped. Oh, yeah, a lot of that lipstick and a pig kind of thing. So, you know, a lot of vices. And I'll say this, the secret to buying vices is to buy vices that don't have brackets, don't have springs, right? Or are missing the wedges, things like that, because then they're incomplete and you can get them usually for a bargain or for a deal. The thing you don't want to buy in a vise is a bad screw in a screw box. that is very much more difficult to replace. Unless you're a machinist, then it's probably another day in the office. But on a leg vise, that is the most complex portion of the whole deal, and everything pivots around that actually working. So I've made vices before, and by far forging the leg and forging the other elements of the vise, the jaws and stuff, that is actually easier to do than anything that has to do with the screw. So the screw in the screw box. That is something where you're going to have some complicated equipment to do, or a lot of time on your hands. So if you can find one that's got really good threads, it's got the screw and it's got the screw box to it, but it's missing the spring, that's easy peasy. You can make a spring. You can make the wedges for it. You can make the saddle bracket for it. That's all easier stuff to make. But that's how you get them on deals.
Dana, the new sticker design is still under the works.
Under construction.
Yes. Yep, I just wrote that down on my list again today to revisit. Ridge Runner sent a $5 super chat. Says, how deep should a fire pot be, and can it be too deep?
How deep should a fire pot be, and can it be too deep? That's a great question. Let me be careful how I answer it. I prefer fire pots that have a between 4 and 6 inch depth, that range. That's what I like, that's what I prefer for a general smithing forge. That's about what my forge is. It's about 4 to 6 inches deep in there. It's been a while since I measured it. I haven't measured it in forever. I believe I've got a video on the channel from way back 4 years ago or so where I actually measured the fire pot and the dimensions and stuff like that on how deep a fire pot should be. As far as how, how deep is too deep, that is all based upon fuel consumption and how much blower you have, horsepower and CFM you have to push underneath it. The more coke or the more coke and coal you have down in the fire pot, the more resistance there is to the air getting up through and through heating the entire pile of coal that you've got. So you end up chasing it down into the fire pot itself. So if you've got a more powerful blower and you've got a little thin pot, a little short pot, it's going to blow everything right up and out of it. But if you have a very deep pot with a large blower, it's going to fill that whole area up with flame, with heat potential, and it's going to consume all that oxygen before it gets to your material. So it's a balance like anything else. There's not a cut and dry answer. I would say probably 8 inches for most people is way too deep. There's going to be all sorts of jokes around this one. You're all not 12. 8 inches is going to be too deep for most folks because when you're just getting started into it or you're building your own, most of us are just going to be doing general forging type stuff. So that means we're going to be working on up to 1 inch material. And for that, you don't need no deeper than, say, 6 inch of a deep depth of a fire pot for 1 inch material. So it's a good general 4 to 6 inches. That's about where you want to stay. If you get shallower than that, you have to work smaller bar stock. You can have a very shallow or almost no fire pot whatsoever, and you just build your coal up on top and then poke your steel in. That's fine, but you have to work smaller material in that case, like in the case of rivet forges and the like. Usually those don't have a depression over 2 to 3 inches deep at max in rivet forges. So there's not a whole lot there, but they're also meant to only heat up rivets, right? So that's kind of the trade-off. They're meant to heat up the heads of rivets and not much else. So it wasn't meant to heat up anvil faces. If you're trying to heat up a big gigantic anvil, like trying to heat up the Harbor Freight anvil in this, it took a long time, and I had to keep filling the fire pot up. I'd keep breaking the sides in, bringing down more coke underneath it, lifting it, settling it back down on it, recovering it. It would burn down. I'd have to lift it, settle it under, lay it back down, re-put more material on it, right? And I had to do that 5 or 6 times before it was fully up to heat. If I had a deeper fire pot that was maybe 8 inches deep or so, that wouldn't have been an issue. It would have had more reserve there that would have been able to put out the heat and not burn down as quickly. So, what's going on?
There's jokes about your comment.
Yeah, the 12-year-old jokes,
Yeah,
right? They were coming. I knew
you
it.
brought them out. Said you brought them out. Question, $20 super chat from Rigid Ironworks.
Thank you, Rigid Ironworks.
Says, what is the next big project for the live streams?
Next big project for the live streams. Good question. I need to come up with a good one for the live streams, a good multi-live project. Right now, I just haven't, I've been so busy and consumed with other stuff, I just have not had the mental capacity to really kind of put something together there just yet. I know specifically for myself, there are some passion project things that I want to work on, more just behind the scenes that are just, over the top, over the moon type stuff, like that custom hammer that I had made that most of you all seen, that really engraved hammer. There are some projects like that I want to do, and I might, once I get embroiled in those are going to be 150 hours worth of work minimum, and so I might be doing some of that during live streams and share some of that process as well. But I think for the live streams right now, I'm just going to stick with doing projects like this that I can get done in one stream or 2 streams tops. That way it doesn't become a 47-part series. I set it off to the side so I can have a think about it, and then we don't get back to it for 5 years. Then I finally finish it up in one stream, right? 5 years later. We've done that before with, yeah, we won't mention the videos that I've done that. But we have done that already before, where we went a long time in between actually ever finishing up a project because I got pulled away because of business. So, but yeah, so I don't know. Suggest. I would take suggestions. What would you all like to see me do live in a live stream in this format to learn and to teach? Be happy. I would be happy to do so.
Black Collar sent a $5 super chat and said, typo, candy was meant to be candles.
Candles.
Roy and Jess, you have a good night. Gonna go get something to eat. Don't forget to smash the like button.
Thank you, Black Collar. Greatly appreciate it. And you have a great night and get something to eat.
Don't burn your pot pies.
Yeah, burn them pot pies.
Country Girl says, how about forging a baker's rack?
Something tells me that had a wink wink behind it.
It might have. Robert Webb says, what's a good place to get a fire pot?
What's a good place to get a fire pot? Online. There's a whole host. There's a whole host of online retailers for fire pots these days. I can't really say. I haven't been in the market for a fire pot, so I can't really say on that. I would just say look at your regular stuff, your Blacksmith Depot, Blacksmith Supply, look at them. Look at your Pie Tool Co. Who else? I know I'm forgetting somebody. There's another online. Brain fart. It's gone. I don't know. We aired it out. It's away. Yeah, so I guess those, like your general there, you could just do a quick Google search, fire pot, and you probably pull up a whole bunch of different stuff. I think Centaur Forge might sell. I'm not sure. Not sure on the fire pots. I have not been in the market for fire pots. I do know, like, through the ones that are usually getting sold on like eBay and Amazon, those are fabricated fire pots, and I can't vouch for those because from the photographs they look like thin sheet metal, and I wouldn't necessarily say that would be a great fire pot. If you're going to fab up a fire pot, it would be my suggestion 1/2-inch plate or thicker. If you're going to forge up if you're going to fabricate a fire pot for yourself. They will last. It doesn't have to be cast iron. It doesn't have to be a cast iron fire pot. Just a thick steel plate to resist buckling and bowing and all that other good stuff. Would be good.
Tinker at Forge suggests a hinged scroll gate.
A hinged scrolly gate. Well, I do have a gate that I did in a class with Clay Spencer many a years ago. And he kind of chastised me a little bit on it. He said, are you going to get this gate done while I'm alive? And it's been like 8 years ago now. And I still haven't got that gate done. So maybe that's what we should do. We should do a bunch of let's just finish Roy's projects that he's promised 8 years ago. Man, that sounds bad.
Catch up. The catch-up year.
Yeah, this is 2022 could just be the catch-up year. There you go.
Catch-up live streams.
Catch-up live
Bring
streams,
your hot dogs.
Oh. Giving away gas forges and catching up on work that I should have done a long time ago.
Clayton Pierce says a camp cooking set would be cool to make.
Yeah, could do that. That could be an interesting one. What else?
Let's see here. Somebody said a door.
A door?
Uh-huh.
That could be cool. Nice big scrolly door.
Big T says fishing rod holders.
Oh, yeah. That could be all right. Fishing rod holders because, well, we'll be going ice fishing here soon, so very soon.
A small window frame. Fingers one says.
Yeah. Small window frame. That could be good.
Possum Sausage says thumb latches or door latches.
Yeah, like a Norfolk or a Suffolk latch.
Leland Hawk sent a $5 super chat, said camp cook set like Clayton suggested.
Paying me for it now, are we? Well, there you go. Highest bidder gets what they want in the live stream.
Jeremy Goon sent a $5 super chat, says, do you have a video on making swedge blocks for a small bowl? Is it the same process as the river block?
Yes, I have the same. I have a video on forging a swedge block. Start to finish, it's a long one. It's 2-part, I think. I think it's a 2-part video.
So.
They're like 30 minutes each. So they're kind of a long watch, but they were a lot of work to do one by oneself. So yes, but I have forged swedge blocks.
And swedge block
over
alternatives
in your
too.
area, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we have at least 4 swedge block alternative videos as well.
Yep. Oh, I'm going to check on something real quick, and then we'll move on.
All right. He will return shortly. In the meanwhile, we will take a brief intermission. And we will take a little journey to blacksmithingblanks.com. This is a little screen thing I made up today of showing off some of the different blanks we have over at our website. I also added, after I recorded that this morning, I actually made some new listings. Some of you guys will remember the unicorns that got requested to live streams back. So we got those drawn up and cut, and I made the listing for that today. So we will have unicorns available also now. And the cancer ribbons, I believe I had that one added. Also coming up within the next couple of days, I will be adding blanks for the for a coal shovel that Roy showed in a video a little while back. And probably by Monday, there will be, I think, about 5 new things up there as well. In addition to the new tool that Roy was showing you today for making the trivets, that one we've titled the 120 degree tool. So, yep. You're back. We've returned from the brief intermission. All right.
That's the swedge block I poured.
Mm-hmm.
Flat on that. Just got your 90-degree sledges on the side. Got your larger sledges
Black Collar Ironworks sent a $5 super chat. Said, I was ready to leave, but I heard you asking for adjustments for your next project. You should forge the copper boat with all them copper ingots you made.
A copper boat with all the copper ingots that I've made.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that an interesting idea?
Dunce Monkey says, furniture, your pick.
Furniture, my pick.
Mm-hmm.
My pick, my design, huh? So I got a new toy in the shop.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and Heath Miller says toilet spoon. It had to come back.
I do it, huh?
No.
So, go to the camera number 2.
All right.
I got myself a fancy little infrared thermometer here. Bought this in for some videos I'll be doing here very, very soon. So be looking forward to seeing this thing. And let's see how hot old it has gotten in the time I've been forging on it. But you know, anvils just suck the heat right away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Come on, you. Just got it up. Don't make a liar out of me.
Heath Miller, thank you for the $4 super sticker of a coffee mug. Pair with a coffee.
Thank you very, very much. Well, I don't know what AL stands for there. But it's an alarm of some kind saying it's cold.
It's meant to measure hot stuff.
We'll warm this up over by the fire. You know, not like taking a $90 piece of equipment and putting it by a forge fire, right?
Yeah.
We're just roasting it over an open flame.
Just don't melt it. You
Wonder if
can't
they'll take
return
back
it.
if I-
Melt it.
If it gets a little melty.
Yeah, I doubt it. Mic's off.
Mike's off.
What do you mean, Mike?
Can you hear me? Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Hello.
they've missed everything you just said.
They missed
Give them-
everything. I'm
give
just
them a
over here
brief-
waving stuff around.
Give them a brief recap.
Brief recap.
Oh, no.
I've got this new fandangled thing that's not working because it's so cold. It's reached its low limit.
You can put it in my glove. I'll let you borrow my glove.
Yeah, so it
That's
has
fine.
reached its low limit, so it doesn't even want to read. So yeah, cold. It's cold. You'll have to take my word on it. I was going to try to prove to everybody there for a second, like, how great, you know, how accurate I am with my statement of, yeah, it's ridiculous to preheat anvils, but you will have to wait for another day when this thing's warmed up. We'll set it over by you.
Okay.
Electronic equipment,
All right.
whatnot. Electronic equipment gal.
Jeremy says, I have the same thermometer. That's nice.
Yeah. It's for some testing that I'll be doing here soon. So, hopefully, I'll keep it warm just prior to testing. These are some of the difficulties that winter happens or sometimes summer happens, like with filming videos and YouTube. You know, it's not like lab conditions around here, so I am actually exposed to the elements. So sometimes camera equipment just doesn't like it, doesn't like to work. You know, it gets down in the teens or single digits or even negatives, and then the camera equipment likes to freeze up on you. So it can be quite trying. All right, I just wanted to take a show how this thing works real quick. This tool, we can go with camera number 2, Jess.
All right.
Real quick. So basically, you just want to find the center of your piece. I'm just looking through the ends here, making sure that it lines up on all edges, is what I'm doing. Making sure it's not sticking out in any one direction more than the other. Then I'm holding it still. And then all I got to do is run my chalk right down through those slots. and I get a pretty accurate 120 degrees, just like so. Take that away. Voila.
Voila.
120 degrees.
Yeah.
They don't even care. They're busy looking at Milk Dud now because he stole the show.
They were afraid. They said, is that a cat? Somebody said, Roy's going to freak out when he sees there's a cat in the shop.
Yeah, that's Milk Dud, the shop cat. He's all good. All right, we at the main cam or
Yep, main
secondary cam? All right, go back to secondary cam real
All
quick.
right.
Yeah, so just show it off. So then after this part, you measure in where you want to put the legs. So if you want to go in deeper, you just measure in deeper from those slots. If you need to put a square across this, you can do that now because it will all be in relation. You know, you've got a flat line across here now to establish a cross center. So, you know, you can extend these lines out if you would like, and they should all meet right dead center there. So I'll just measure off, say, a 1/2 inch off the edge, and that's where I'll put my center punch mark. And I just go to the next one. And that's how quick it is to actually lay it out with that tool. So 1/2 inch off, switch it on around. No eyeballing, no guessing. Right on every time. There you have it. And then those would obviously get drilled, right? You can then drill those out and be in good shape.
Tinker at Forge says a tool that I didn't know existed, but now that I know I need. Awesome.
Yep. Just a basic thing, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We're at the main cam now. She
Yeah.
switched it on me.
I did.
She switched it on me, fellas.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So again, we've got these in the 6-inch variety, and we've got them in the 12-inch variety over there. Voila. Pretty handy. Pretty handy-dandy.
Handy-dandy.
And if you don't want to buy them from us, well, screenshot it and scale it and do whatever. Little drawing work never hurt anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yep.
All right, what time we at, Jess?
We are at 6:41.
6:41. So we're pretty good, ain't we?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, I'm going to make it a little shorter stream this evening. I've been having some issues out of the old ticker, and so I'm going to be making it a little bit slower. A bit of the reason why I've been off a little bit this evening, a little bit off my game. So we're going to make the stream just a little bit on the shorter side this evening than normal. We're not going to do no 3 hours, so I think I'm going to call it good at the one that we made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just maybe kick back and answer some questions over here by the fire, if that's all right with everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh.
See here.
I gotta wait on you to reply whether
Yes.
it's all right with everyone.
That is. It should
They're
be.
like, no, Forge till
They
you
said,
drop.
No, get out of here. Robert Lannis says, I had to put the sound down, but I'm still watching and reading. Debaka Maker says, what?
Glad you're watching and reading still. Good.
Tim O'Connor says, 10 degrees might have a hand in it too.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm pretty cold hardy. The cold don't bug me too much, so I'm pretty warm right now. I'm not actually that cold. Or maybe that's just the numbness has set in. Oh.
Down Under Farm and Forge says, praying for you, Roy.
I appreciate that, Down Under. It's a hereditary thing, unfortunately. So, but is what it is.
The Baka Maker says, get warm and don't tax your ticker.
Don't want to tax the ticker. That could be a shirt. Don't tax the ticker. You're like, what's the ticker? It always leads to more questions.
It does.
My type shirts. Well, questions people have.
Todd Good says, no worries, bud. Enjoy y'all's evening. It was a fun way to spend a Friday evening.
Well, thank you, Todd. We'll be around. I keep hanging around here and ask some. I'll just do some question and answers now until the end of the stream. If that's all right. And I think we'll probably pull the plug at about 7, if that's all right.
Let's see, Mad Mr. Fox says, tell us about the thermometer, please, because your mic was off.
Okay, so the thermometer, I bought that in. I'm buying in several pieces of test equipment to test several myths, several legends, if you will. Basically, I bought in a bunch of testing equipment. Bought in that infrared thermometer. I've got a thermocouple style thermometer coming that's a K type, so this way I can hook it into a multimeter that I have already. I have some other things coming in that will be testing, like airflow and some other stuff. I don't want to give away too much right now. Don't want to give away the prize. That way it's like, what? Add a little bit of shockingness there, shock and awe factor when everybody wants to come and watch. Watch the streams hopefully, or watch the videos on the channel that'll be coming out. Mainly just to take and put it out there, so this way I can appease the neckbeards that live and exist on the internet, as it were. I like to have some empirical evidence of what I'm saying. So, might as well have the good stuff. Also, I'm going to be buying in a Rockwell hardness tester, a digital one that is a lot more accurate and calibrated versus the hardness testing files, because as of right now, that's one of the biggest complaints on every Anvil test video I've done, is that I've used the files wrong. Some people say I'm supposed to start at the highest file and go down to the lowest. Some people say I'm supposed to start at the lowest and go up to the highest. Some people said I rubbed it wrong. Some people said, you got to test it on the edge. Other people on the horn, yada, 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 yada. So it's like, I'm just going to get a digital one in. So that way, when I just go snap, there it is. Mm-hmm. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And it will make it very clear, very clear as to what it actually is.
Leland Hawk says, the myth bustin' blacksmith.
Yep, Smith Buster. That's what it is. No affiliation with the other show.
Bakamaker says, neckbeards are insatiable, never satisfied with facts ever, LOL.
Nope, they won't be. But you know what? Hey, I hope to learn a lot, and I hope you all learn a lot as well. At my expense. It's a lot of money, but you know what? I think it'll be worth it. I think it'll be helpful to the community at some point. You'll have a reference video. Somebody will say, oh, I'm having this. Well, here's a video that says otherwise. Or might concur with exactly what you're thinking. Now, like, hey, that anvil's dead soft. People are like, no, it's not. Then you can be like, here's a video where it's been tested, and yes, it's dead soft. See? It'll work out good.
Heath French says, Roy, do you still forge something after the streams until 9 or something like that?
Do I ever forge stuff after the streams?
Yeah, until like 9 p.m.?
Usually not. Usually not. Only reason for that being is, even though I'm out in the country, I do have one neighbor that's within 100 yards, well, about 100 yards away. And I'm always cautious about my neighbors. I always like to be courteous, especially in the summer months, I don't like to be out real late. One, bugs get flying real late in the evening, and two, like in the winter, it's not so bad. So if I got a late night where I need to forge something or catch up on a job, I'll work later. But generally speaking, I like to spend time with my family and be in and be there when my kids go to bed, and I'm a family man, so I'm not all about the forge, unfortunately. Fortunately, unfortunately, depending on where you stand. Huh?
So do you know how to stay balanced?
Yeah, I know how to stay balanced. I don't have to be all in or all out on smithing. So.
Mad Mr. Fox says, I'm colorblind and I need a decent thermometer for tempering my steel. Thank you. I haven't thought about that, but yeah, being colorblind.
Yeah. So if you're working with the difficulty of being colorblind, some things that you might want to think about that you could do, and I think anybody who has an impairment in vision could do this. Colors, like if I say it's bright yellow, lemon yellow, okay, that doesn't mean much to obviously somebody who's colorblind. But the point to get across is the hotter the material is, the softer it will be under the hammer. So you just need to register what that is. So if I say bright lemon yellow is going to be the softest it's going to be without it being at a welding temp, that means the surfaces of the material. If you were to take two bars, they'd stick together. If I say lemon yellow and that's the softest it's going to be, you should be able to feel that in the hammer blow when you work it. You're like, okay, this feels like I'm smacking silly putty. It's the softest as it's going to be. It's probably going to be closer to like that lemon yellow. If it starts giving you a lot of rebound in your hand, take note at what color that is for you, or gray scale, or whatever it is that's in your particular thing, and say, oh, okay, hey, this is giving me a lot of rebound, so this must be one of them darker colors. And just make up your own color chart in your mind about that. You know, I worked with a guy who didn't tell me he was colorblind once in heating and air conditioning. We were wiring up this mini split system, and it was his job to wire the outdoor. I was wiring the in, and I had a few other things I had to do. And it was like 7 p.m. in the evening, and it's like it was just one of those jobs. It was hell, and I was just like ready to go home. Go to kick everything on, nothing works. And I'm like, what in the world is going on here? Went outside, none of the wires, like, you know, yellow to yellow. It was like yellow to black, and black to blue, and purple to orange. And it was like none of them were synced up or color coded at all. And I asked him, I said, dude, what the heck, man? What are you doing? And he's like, well, I'm colorblind. I'm like, well, you could have let me know. You could have let me know that before you went to wiring this thing. So, long story short, we ended up frying the circuit board on two very expensive units because he didn't know which colors were which. So, like, yeah, there's certain things, you know, you got to know what the color is, or at least have a mental map of what that color is, you know. If he would have said something, I could have said something like that. Okay, what color do you see here? You're like, whatever it may be for him. I could be like, no, that's purple. You know, so it goes to the P terminal, right, on the board, and that'd be handy. So similarly, if you're blacksmithing and you're forging, since it's very much a visual and very tactile thing, you have to just build your own visual image based upon your tactile feedback of the steel. Long story short, you can still do it.
Army Soldier 1972 says, I am trying to learn a new hobby. Thought smithing might be a good activity for an old guy.
It's a wonderful activity for an old guy. It's a wonderful activity for a young guy, old guy, over the hill guy. It's a wonderful activity. Remember, it's a physical activity. So everybody needs to know it takes a while to learn when you're first getting started at it, your physical limitations, right? And be okay with those, especially as guys. We like to push past our own physical limitations sometimes. You're like, nah, I can do it. And then you're sore for 3 weeks, right? And so just keep in mind it's a very physical craft. So take it in short bursts or short intervals, drink plenty of fluids, have a great time. And you know, and that's the key, right? There's nothing worse than trying to push for that last heat, being fatigued, and ruin something that you got 6 hours into already, right? So it's good to just take time, take a breather, take a rest, say, hey, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll pick back up on that work. Kind of going back to me, I know my own limits. I know my own limits in the shop. There are days when I can work in here and I'm fine, and I can work 12, 14, 16, 18-hour day in here, no problem. And there's other days I don't want to be in here for 4 hours. You know, get out of bed and I'm just, I have to know my own limitations in those, because I just end up screwing up more work than what I get done. So generally, inspiration doesn't really strike. Sometimes it does late night. And if it does, I'll be forging or chiseling or engraving till 4 a.m. You know, no problem. Won't have any concept of time, especially in this shop. Once the sun goes down, there's no concept of time in here just because of all the stadium lighting I got going on in this barn.
Stephen Watkins, he said, worked late but finally made it. Hello from Minion Smithy.
Hello, Minion Smithy. Stephen Watkins. Good to have you here.
The first one in.
Oh. Well, I want to talk a little bit about some things to expect in the new year. Should we do that?
Yeah, we should.
Should we do that? Okay. So I hope to be adding some more designs to the website. I hope to focus on trying to design up some tooling for the blacksmithing, blacksmithingblanks.com. For anybody who's interested in that, I hope to do some more tools like this 120-degree tool. If you guys can think of some tools that you're lacking or that are super complex, that it would cost some lot of money for somebody to actually manufacture for you, let us know. Shoot us an email. We're willing to kind of throw some stuff together that way. So I look forward to doing some more tooling down that way. The channel as a whole, YouTube videos, I'm on a bit of a kick of testing things and getting all nerded out on the science of things, the scientific method, process of eliminations, and all that good stuff. So I'm right now I'm just kind of in that kick and in that mode, and so we'll see how long that goes for. There will be more forging videos. The type of forging videos that I want to do or start doing is going to change a little bit. We'll see about tutorials and things like that. I'm not sure where I'll go with those yet as far as that's concerned. Some of the forging endeavors that I want to undertake, like I said, I've got several projects that are 150 hour plus that I would love to complete. They've been on my mind forever, and I might try to take on this year and actually accomplish those things. So we'll have to see how that goes, and I hope to bring you all on all along for the ride as well. Live streams. We're going to be doing the giveaway lives. We're going to be doing 12 forges this year. Every month we're going to be giving away one gas forge. Right now it's going to be the Mr. Volcano forges. Hopefully they don't sell out on us. We reached out to the company. They said that they would have 12 for us, or that they would keep them there, so this way we could get those out to you guys in the giveaways. We haven't talked to anybody else yet as far as seeing how people want to do more supporting with different tools and stuff like that to fill in the other gaps, but that'll be coming soon, I'm sure, hopefully before the next live stream that we have. So we will be giving away a Mr. Volcano gas forge this upcoming live stream. Jessica has that all detailed in the description down below of this live stream, right? Don't you? The actual, is it scheduled out?
Actually, it's not. I noticed it just before the live stream, and I didn't have time to do it. But It will be January 21st, and I'll have that up soon. So YouTube is gonna start. They'll start promoting it around. But if you are ever curious on when our next live stream is so long as this is scheduled one, if you go to youtube.com/ChristCenter-Ironworks/live, that will always take you to the landing page for the next scheduled live stream. So it'll be up soon.
Yeah. So Jessica, usually, except for the last couple times, you've messed that up a little bit there, girl.
Maybe.
Last few times I've mentioned it. You've
Yeah.
left me hanging out here.
I'm sorry.
Just when I was talking you up.
You were.
Had to bring me down to reality. So usually it's all written out in the descriptions when the next whatever is. So Jessica will have that up here soon. Again, it's always 2 weeks out, right, from this one. So from this Friday Night Live, 2 weeks from now, there'll be another one. So unless there's something that changes, and then we do a community post, and we might share it around a couple other people, and they post about it and stuff for us. But yeah, I mean, I think that's really about it as far as.
I do got the poem. I'll read that before we
you
close off.
got a poem that you're going to do too,
I
huh?
do. And
Yes.
hello, Charming Hollow. Glad to have you drop in.
Hey, Hans. Good to see you. Oh, yeah. So Jessica, she is going to be doing a little segment,
I do.
and we might include this.
Poetry with Jessica.
we might include this at almost every live. We'll have to see.
Yeah, you guys liked it last
Or
live
on
stream.
special occasions. It's called Poetry with Jess.
Yeah.
So now we got to come up with a really interesting, just like the Forge cast, you know, tool time. But it's gonna be like, and now for a moment with Jess. And it's like have a star, like it needs to have a 1980s star that goes, swing.
Yeah, and like the sound of wind chime or something.
That'd be great. So, all right. So I will turn you over to a poem with Jess.
Yes.
Go ahead, Jess.
Yes, this one is called The Music of Labor, and I just ran across it just like 10 minutes before the live stream, and I'm like, I like this one. So, The Music of Labor. The banging of the hammer, the whirling of the plane, the crashing of the busy saw, the creaking of the crane, the ringing of the anvil, the grating of the drill, the clattering of the turning lathe, the whirring of the mill, the buzzing of the spindle, the rattling of the loom, the puffing of the engine, the fan's continual boom, the clipping of the tailor's shears, the driving of the awl, these sounds of honest industry, I love them all. The clinking of the magic type, the earnest talk of men, the toiling of the giant press, the scratching of the pen, the bustling of the market man as he hies him to the town, the halloo from the treetop as the ripened fruit comes down, the busy sound of thrashers as they cleave the ripened grain, the husker's joke and catch of glee neath the moonlight on the plain, the kind voice of the dairyman, the shepherd's gentle call, these sounds of honest industry, I love them all. Oh, there is good in labor, if we labor but aright, that gives vigor to the daytime and a sweeter sleep at night. A good that bringeth pleasure, even to the toiling hours, for duty cheers the spirit, as dew revives the flowers. Then say not that Jehovah gave labor as a doom, no, 'tis the richest mercy, from the cradle to the tomb. Then let us still be doing, whate'er we find to do, with cheerful, hopeful spirit, and free hand strong and true.
That has been a moment with Jess. Very good. What do people say?
Let's see. LMR says, deep thoughts with Jess. Jess Picard says, the clattering lathe may need some attention.
Yeah, the clattering of the lathe.
Bill Wool, I did not write that, but there was not an author on it, but it's called The Music of Labor.
The Music of Labor.
Yes.
Very musical. To someone who's sitting there jotting down with a pen.
Thomas recommends it could be the halftime show.
It could. It could be the halftime show. Everybody needs a little reprieve from me and all my Roy rants, you know.
Yes. Dana says that's awesome. Canadian Necktie says nice. Robert says awesome, Jess.
Cool. Oh.
Yes, a moment with Jess.
A moment with Jess.
Army's Holder says the moo of a cow.
The moo of the cow.
Yeah, they did leave out brick masons. You're right, Tucker Outdoors. They didn't cover
Yeah.
all of them.
No, they didn't cover all the trades, did they?
No.
Oh. Which is sad.
That would make it quite a long poem, though.
It could be quite long, yeah. They try to be too inclusive with that, huh? So. Anywho, so, all right. So how we doing? Any questions for me?
I
Before we
don't
go?
see any questions. I
Oh,
know a
pretty
few
good?
people had to check out about 10 minutes ago.
Okay. All right. So, well, I think that's good for me too. I think we'll call it for the evening.
Okay.
Thank you all very much for, showing up to the live stream. I don't know how many people we had,
I
at
think
peak
150.
here, but wow, that's a lot.
Gosh, we still have 154 at the highest. We're at 100 currently.
Wow, that surprised me. Thank you all for showing up and such force to be around. Again, this year is the Mr. Volcano, gas forge that we're going to be giving away for 12 forges. Hopefully, we're calling it the Year of the Gas Forge, or Year of the Forge for short, and that's what we decided to do. That's going to be a fun time. Who knows what we'll get in next? Next week it'll be something else. I want to do some sort of forge project that's not blank related or whatever, just something that's cool. Maybe something with some scrolls. We'll see. Since none of the other people out there will do scrolls, except for Troy. I got to give it up to Troy and Eli over at Bar Run Forge. At least Troy gives it a go, you know, with scroll work in his videos. So I like that a lot. But yeah, I'm excited about the future, excited about this whole year and everything that's going to go on with the channel. And I hope you guys are too. And I hope you guys and gals will come back for the next live stream and participate in the fun. And it's been real fun this evening. And yeah, that's it. God bless each and every last one of you out there. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to all the super chatters and channel members that make the content possible. We do greatly appreciate it. So bye now.